It was a cold October night when I first noticed it, the moment my shadow began to move on its own. At first, I thought it was just a trick of the light, a flicker from the street lamp outside my window. But as I stared, the shadow's movements grew more deliberate, more sinister. It stretched across the wall, its limbs elongating unnaturally, and I realized with a chill that it was imitating me, but with a delay, a puppet on a delayed string. I laughed it off, attributing it to exhaustion, but the uneasy feeling lingered, whispering that something was desperately wrong. The next day, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. Every reflective surface seemed to shimmer with something beyond my reflection, a dark silhouette that didn't quite match my own. At work, my colleagues noticed my distracted demeanor, and my boss even asked if everything was alright. I lied, saying I was just tired, all the while my mind was racing. That night, I lay awake in bed, the room cloaked in shadows. As the moonlight spilled through the curtains, I felt the unmistakable sensation of being touched, a cold hand grazing my arm. I bolted upright, but the room was empty, save for my shadow, flickering unnaturally on the wall. By the third night, I was terrified of the dark. I left every light in the apartment blazing, yet still, the shadows crept in. I watched, frozen, as my shadow began to detach, gliding across the floor with a mind of its own. It slithered towards the mirror, and as I followed, I saw something that stopped my heart. In the reflection, my shadow wasn't just a dark outline, it had eyes, hollow and staring back at me with a malevolent intelligence. It raised a finger to its lips, a shushing gesture that sent a bolt of ice down my spine. And then, it smiled, a grotesque, twisted grin that promised secrets I wasn't ready to uncover. Desperation clawed at me, and I realized I had to confront this entity, this dark passenger within. I gathered every ounce of courage and spoke to the shadow, asking what it wanted. The room chilled further, and the shadow's grin widened. It leaned closer, its voice a whisper in my mind, promising that I would never be alone again. Just as quickly, it merged back with me, leaving me gasping for breath. Now, every night, I feel it lurking beneath my skin, a constant reminder that I'm no longer the sole occupant of my body. The sense of dread never leaves, the fear that one day it will take over completely, and I'll be nothing more than a shadow myself.